Welcome to Words About Stuff, a podcast where I talk to awesome people about the stuff they love. I'm your host, Amy the Copywriter, and I need to complain about predatory advertising. I saw an ad the other day that has lived rent-free in my brain for weeks. I'll show it to you, but first I need to show you some behind the scenes of the tactics commercials are using to get at your hard-earned dollars. I have trouble giving it a value judgment necessarily, but sometimes I don't have trouble with that. We'll see what you think when we're at the end. I know most people, when they're watching a commercial, are looking at their phone or doing something else. The few times I watch them, I'm paying attention and I have thoughts. This episode is a the more you know moment to help you arm yourself against predatory marketing, or just to give you a little peek behind the curtain. But first, what makes me awesome today? Ooh, that's a good question, me. Let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to do less. Intentionally do less. I can fill space. I can fill time. If I'm given weeks to do something, I can spend weeks doing that thing. But I need to give appropriate energy to appropriate tasks, right? We don't need to spend 4 weeks scripting this video when it's probably better if I just give you my impression as we go along. So I do more on things that very much matter, and I'm trying to do less on other things, micromanagey things. Do less of that. That's what makes me awesome today. And what makes you, the audience, awesome? Liking, subscribing, sharing the podcast, maybe leaving a comment, maybe an ad that drives you crazy so that I can look at it and judge it. It is always easier to critique than to create, so I do want to acknowledge that. Everyone on the ads teams that made the ads I'm going to talk about today, they were given a problem. Sell this thing. Convince people of this idea. And they came up with solutions and they made something. I might have even done the very same thing if I had taken whichever job this is and was given this problem. I might have come up with the same solution, right? It's always easier to critique than to create. Keep that in mind. We're not judging those people. We are deciding how we want to absorb information, what we think is acceptable, and understand when we're being manipulated. I think that's important. What even is manipulation? Is it just persuasion? When do we cross that line? That's what I want to talk about. And you may be wondering, how can someone who writes copy, words, for advertisements be upset about written advertisements? Pretty easily. Pretty easily. I'll show you some parts of blogs I've written in the past, and there's one I'm writing now. I can't get it out of my head, so I need to talk about it with you. And if you want to see any of those in all their coherent glory, as opposed to what I'm doing right now, you can go to wordsaboutstuff.com/unblog. My theory is no one reads blogs anymore, so this is an unblog. And the purpose of it is for me to write things I would read. So if you also would read them, cool. And it's more of a deep dive if you go and read it, but we're going to skim over some of it here and see what we think. I'm going to set up some stakes for you in the speed round, because this is more about you than it is about me. You're the judge, jury, and executioner of this one. Punisher's another interesting marketing debacle. So, first question. Try to answer this for yourself. When was the last time you left the room, changed the channel, or audibly groaned when a commercial came on? Think about that one. I have an answer, but keep yours in your mind. What's the last quotable ad you remember? Something that you watched it potentially 1,000 times, and then in real life, you said the thing out loud, or someone else said it to you. Do you have one like that? I have two. And I'm going to be dating myself with these, by the way. And number 3, have any ads ever made you cry? It's pretty powerful, right? Number 4? I think it's 4. Do you buy the thing? Does it appeal to your identity? That's another type of ad. Do you look at the ad and you say, they see me, that's me? And then does that make you buy it? Or do you feel that way because you already bought it? Can you tell the difference between human-made and AI? I would like to say I can, but then It's getting better and better. If you have your answers already, cool. If you don't, I will give you some answers. Let's talk about how these type of ads work. The first one I want to go to is an ad that I would turn off, an ad that I will not be watching. It was the Sarah McLachlan SPCA ad. Hi, I'm Sarah McLachlan, and I'm about to ruin your day. Right? If you don't remember, I'll play a few seconds of it for you here. Nope, we're going ahead. Okay, can't watch it.
Hi, I'm Sarah McLachlan.
I changed the channel because it is tugging at the heartstrings. Those are sick dogs. The song, everything. By the way, this ad made... I did all this research before. I don't need to do it again. It's right here. It made how many dollars? $30 million. $30 million in about a year between 2006 and 2007 when it was first airing. And it still plays. Still today. And how much money did Sarah make off of it? $0. This ad is pushing hard on pain points. And this is pretty typical for ads in this time period. It can be typical for nonprofits. That was a huge strategy back then, was show how terrible things are. And people will see it and they'll have compassion and they'll engage, right? Having a timer is very used all the time, even now. Like, you only have an hour left for the sale. This was kind of pushing on, these dogs will die if you don't give money right now. And it's true, right? It can be true and a tactic. I'm so happy they made a bunch of money for these animals. That is amazing. I couldn't watch the ad. And I still can't, and I won't. So is it pushing too hard? In today's marketing landscape, pushing on the pain point can feel like too much. I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of things are going on. So if you already have all this stress and all this pressure on you, to push again, to be like, dogs are dying. Oh, right? Like, I don't know about that. There are other ways to get this message across. Rivers are life is a good example. They're talking about cleaning rivers. And they could say, 100,000 fish are dying every day. People don't have clean drinking water, right? They could be doing that. But their way of marketing is hope first, empowerment first. You can clean up your local river. That's the message. You do it, and you have just changed the world. Instead of, look at all this plastic, it's look at the change this one person made. Interesting, right? It's a different way of doing it. Kiva is another example. I'm a Kiva ambassador. I lend with them. I tell people about them. So Kiva is a place where you can lend money to someone who does not have access to things we have access to, like loans, savings account, women, refugees, people who are not supported economically to run their lives, run their businesses. So you lend $25. The person has the loan, the person pays the loan back, and you get the money back, and then you can lend it again. What makes this similar to Rivers Are Life and dissimilar to the SPCA ad, the borrowers are shown as competent, caring, whole human beings. They have a business and they just need a little loan to help them make their business better, which, by the way, is what happens with every billionaire and millionaire. They need little loans. They got little loans, right? Big loans, actually, from their parents. So they only show borrowers in an empowered light. This is them doing their job. This is them succeeding. This is them taking care of their families. This is in stark contrast to, if you remember, Save the Children. Again, I'm dating myself on this. There were ads for Save the Children. They don't do it as much now. And I don't want to show the old ads. But if you remember, these were on TV and it showed so many of these little tiny kids with flies on them. And like, is that reality? It's also reality that there's tons of plastic in the ocean. So how do they want to get this message across? Do they want to say, these people, they are so sad. They need everything from you. They're helpless. You are the savior to come and help them. Or do you want to say, these people need help just like you need help from time to time? Like they're your global neighbors. We have a responsibility to help our neighbors. There's a different vibe. You're the hero, I guess, in both. I am giving, donating, lending money. I am doing an action. But am I the amazing savior, or am I just someone on equal footing with you, helping you out? Which do I need to be in order to act? It's a question you'd have to ask yourself on that one. So that is pain points. Would you change the channel? Did you groan? That kind of bleeds into this question of quotable ads. So these two are quotable ads. Here's one. Here's one that I hated. This goes on for quite some time. So how does this ad work? Repetition. And a little bit of annoyance. And would an ad like this survive now? It's so slow. I can't even sit through 30 seconds of the slow, but right. I can't do it. This might have been 1995, a time where we listened for longer, is my hypothesis. Does it work? I think probably. It's just the same word over and over. Even if you were on your phone, you would hear Bud-Weis-Er at least like 5 times. You would hear it. It would slowly seep into your brain. You look up, you see the image. The frogs are kind of interesting. Maybe you talk about that. I hate this commercial. I cannot watch it. Is it effective? Probably. So pain points, Sarah McLachlan. Pushing hard on you. Feel bad, feel bad. The only way to feel better is to help. Does that work? Not on me. Repetition. Just hammering it into your brain. Does it work? Maybe. Another repetition one, this one. I'm starting part way in because the whole beginning is, you probably remember. Here's the main part.
Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie. Yo. What's that? What's that? Hold on. Hello? So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud. True.
So loud. This is another way to grab attention. If you're a commercial on TV and people are like going to the bathroom when they're watching, the loudness, the annoyingness of it, it's fun, I guess. You could repeat this with your friends, and people did. This is one that I remember people doing in real life, right? Wassup was a thing that people said all the time. For this one, I think it was showing guys having fun, relaxing, doing something that everyone wants to do, chill out, be around your friends, and they're all just going, wazza. It's like an in joke. It makes you part of the in crowd. You could have this life where you're just getting to watch football and relax. And Budweiser is how you do it, right? That's the idea of that ad. This next one, I don't think they went about it the same way. I think Budweiser made a scenario that you would want, and you kind of quote it to go into that, or it's something you already say with your friends. This one, I think, is a little more calculated. See if you know this catchphrase.
So make the smart choice and sign up for America's Choice.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Verizon.
Can you hear me now? This was something people already said. Wassup is probably also something people already said. But this was something when people were frustrated with their phones. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It was always a source of frustration. So where Wassup was always like positive, so we're associating that with Budweiser. Can you hear me now? It used to be associated with like, my phone's not working. Can you hear me now? This is so frustrating. And Verizon decided to take that phrase and make it positive only for Verizon. It's, can you hear me now? Like, for all the other brands. And for Verizon, it's, can you hear me now? Good. That's a catchphrase. That's one I still think of. If someone else on speakerphone, can you hear me now? So that's something that was already in the vernacular in a like functional way, and they made it into a tagline. Wassup as well, but it wasn't as connected to Budweiser because they had to add, what are you doing? Having a bud, watching the game. That was a little bit longer of a road to connect, and that's why I don't know if it was as effective. Budweiser had a lot of good commercials at the time though. So let's see. That was Quotable. So we've had some ads where we change the channel because they're too much. We've had some quotable ones. Now, do any ads make you cry? They're designed to show you something emotional or tell a story that's emotional. So the one I can remember most, I'm not sure if it was this year, but this will be a good demonstration. Year in search. Google puts this out every year, and I think they do a very good job of tapping into emotions. Do I think it's ethical to do? I don't know. Let's think about it. But here's a little glimpse of it. This was the 2020 year in search.
The most human trait is to want to know why. And in a year that tested everyone around the world, why was searched more than ever.
The spread of the coronavirus has passed a significant milestone.
And while we didn't find all the answers, we kept asking. Some questions inspired joy. Others, excitement.
Life in the bubble.
You love me?
Yes.
You love me?
Yes.
You love me?
Yes.
I don't know what an improper fraction is.
Keep all of those distractions out of the way.
We found politician, y'all.
Oh my God.
So this ad is literally taking pieces that people made, user-generated content, and putting it together in a story about Google search engine. I think that's pretty cool in terms of marketing, because how do you market a search engine? You say like, hey guys, come search. I don't know if you remember Ask Jeeves. Let's find one. Ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves' tagline is, what's your question? Almost aggressive, right? It used to be that little butler man, which, yeah, here he is. As if he's your servant. I don't know about that. And what's Bing? Bing is just a train wreck. Sorry, Bing. Bing and Decide was Bing's attempt. I gotta be careful going to Bing because it'll change everything over to Bing. That's just what it's always tried to do. Here's Bing. Bing and Decide, trying to make their own name into a verb, right? That's a common thing. But with Google, they're not saying here's our story. They're saying here's your story told through what you search. That is a cool idea. Using the user's own faces, voices, searches, in theory, right, brings people into the conversation. So instead of saying, we're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, hey guys, use our thing, they're saying, you used our thing for this story. Really good ad. Should they be making it? Depends on their intention, in my opinion. If they want to show the world what the world is doing, that would be one thing, but I don't know if that's the motivation. Maybe it is. Maybe there's some altruistic marketers in there saying, let's reflect the world and put some hope on it. Let's do that. That's cool. If it's to show how much better Google is and for Google to make a bunch more money and CEOs to make a bunch more money, then it feels like they're using our own story against us, right? And it could be both. Nothing is ever just one thing. So the next question is, what about appealing to your identity? Team sports. And do you buy the thing? Did you buy the thing already and that's why the commercial appeals to you? Or does the commercial appeal to you so you buy the thing? The one I can remember identifying with the most is Mac versus PC. See if you remember these.
Hello, I'm a Mac. and I'm a PC. You know, we use a lot of the same kinds of programs.
Yeah, like Microsoft Office.
But we retain a lot of what makes us us.
But you should see what this guy can do with a spreadsheet. It's insane.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, and he knows that I'm better at life stuff, like music, pictures, movies, stuff like that.
Whoa, what exactly do you mean by better?
By better, I mean making a website or photo book is easy for me, and for you, it's not.
Oh, that kind of better.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the other kind.
What other kind?
So which company made that ad? You probably already know. Mac. Mac made the ad. It's a choice to name your competitor in your ad, because your competitor generally has to spend a lot of money to get their name out there, to get noticed, to build brand awareness. At the point that they were at, both Mac and PC had huge brand awareness already. It's a calculated risk to say everyone already knows what a PC is. If we put them in our ad, that's okay. And to make PC the nerdy, businessy guy is also kind of admitting their strengths, right? Oh, you're great at Excel. But it's the backhanded compliment. No one wants to use Excel except for me. And I love Excel. So, oh, I'm better at the lifestyle things. I'm better at art and photos and, you know, stuff you need for your everyday life. That's appealing to potentially a broader base. What's interesting is I identified with the PC guy, especially because they portrayed him this way. I was like, good. I have chosen the right product. And that's fine, because in advertising, you're not trying to appeal to everyone. That's impossible. You cannot appeal to everyone. You're trying to appeal to your audience, the people who will buy your product or want to or should or have needs that coincide with your product. So these Mac ads were masterful. Artists or people who wanted an easier time with photos and videos, that's who they wanted to talk to, so that's who they're talking to. It's easy for them to say, oh, you know, you're better at Excel, because those people don't want the functionality of Excel, and this makes the decision easy for them. So this is team sports, where I watched these ads and I was like, go PC, like in my mind. Oh, Mac, you're so, like, oh, there's Mac again. He's not very serious. They're funny, they're light, they're simple, visually simple, scripting is fast. At the end, they show Mac. But they equally talk about PC. So I'm not, like, I don't have big sports affiliations or whatever, but I'm sure there are ads tapping into that kind of in-group. There are ads for every in-group, and that it should be that. It should be that you watch an ad and you're either sucked into it completely or you don't care at all about it. That would be a great ad to me. But there's a lot where it has to just say the name, Budweiser. There you go. That's one that could appeal to everyone. It doesn't even clearly show the product. It's just for brand awareness. It's to have kids saying Budweiser. Right, okay. Then my next question is, can you tell the difference between human-made and AI? This is a new problem. I wish I could say I can always tell the difference. Okay, let me show you. I'll zoom it in. So, here's a billboard. Tariffs are a tax, and the Golden Knights are basically a Canadian team anyway. Paid for by the government of Canada, right? Clear channel. So when you're looking at this, you're scrolling. You probably think it's real. Why wouldn't you think it's real? Like, this part with the palm fronds is kind of out of focus. It's not really centered. It looks like the Vegas sky, right? Could be real. Then you Google it, and there are billboards that the government of Canada paid for. We'll get into that. And they do say tariffs are a tax. But if you look very, very closely, or Google harder, ask more Jeeveses. If you look more carefully, it's a different, like, it's almost the same font, right? But this is typed over. This is kind of grainy because of the photo quality, but this is just typed in. Like, I could take this picture, put it in a photo editor, and just type in whatever I wanted, and then I put it out into the world. Did the person who altered this have malicious intent? Probably not. It's kind of just funny. Maybe they just wanted to signal boost the billboards, or be like, here's what they should have written if they were being cheeky. Could I have believed this was real? Yes, because if you tasked Canada with getting the attention of Americans and trying to educate them about tariffs, this would be an option to kind of poke a little fun at their sports team. That would get attention. That would potentially have more people talking about it, sharing it. It's not super crazy, malicious, right? I think more people talked about this billboard that wasn't even real than the real ones. Interesting. Okay. So could I tell the difference? At first, no. When this was small and and even if I looked really close, I might think, oh, they cleaned this part up to make it readable. That's something I could have thought. So I had to go farther on. Is everyone going to spend all this time figuring out if something's real? No. Does it matter if it's real? Think about it. So did Canada actually buy these billboards? Yes. It just didn't say the Golden Knights thing. And so interesting, right? A foreign government is trying to educate the people of the neighbor with an advertising campaign. It would be so cool to talk to people who worked on this. Mostly red states is where they put up these billboards. And it says tariffs are a tax on hardworking Americans, is what this one says. Tariffs are a tax on your grocery bill. And I think those were the two main ones. But the point is trying to get across what a tariff is and how it affects you, the person. So in advertising, in copywriting, your audience is the thing you have to think about the whole time. You have to make them the hero. You have to make them understand what they get out of it, what happens to them if they don't do this thing, why they should care. That's why it's different from like a Wikipedia article. Wikipedia is going to talk about the billboards. They're going to say, Canadian government did this. Here's where they were. Here's what they are. It's all information, right? If you're trying to convince someone, straight up information isn't the way to go. We need to have two separate lanes for these types of communication. Wikipedia, journalism tends to fall into the here is information, you make up your mind. Blogs can kind of be on that side. It's content. It would either be for education or entertainment. When you go into advertising, it's persuasion. That's copywriting versus content writing. Copywriting is I'm thinking about what you want to hear, what you need to hear to take an action, to persuade you into doing something. So the Canadian government, here's the creative brief. Here's my guess. The Canadian government said, a lot of these people in some of these states don't seem to understand what a tariff is going to do to them. No one is telling them. No one is communicating this information effectively to them. How can we do it? So we have to use the word tariffs because that is what's being blasted in their media. Tariffs. Tariffs are good. Tariffs will save us. Tariffs are amazing. Tariffs are going to show everybody else what's what, right? So we have to use that word for sure. And then we need to communicate what it is. Tariffs are a tax. That's a way to describe what's happening. If you just put that, nobody cares. The reader does not care. Tariffs are a tax. Okay, well, there's a bunch of taxes. Who cares? I don't understand it. At the end of the year, I have to figure it out. Blah, 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 tax. As soon as you put on hardworking Americans, now you're talking to the audience, especially in a red state, right? They view themselves as hardworking Americans. So if it's a tax on me, wait a minute, right? I think that's how they came up with these kind of ads. It's a tax on your grocery bill. Hold on. I don't want my grocery bill taxed anymore. It becomes more of a concrete thing that the reader can hold. I think it's interesting. Like they have to put paid for by the government of Canada. I'm sure there's an ad law about that. You need to know who is advertising to you. I thought the billboards were cool, but I am the audience that already knew what the message is. So it didn't offend me. And I don't mind if people put an advertisement or something educational. I'm not just going to believe it. I'm going to look into it. So it never offends me when there's information somewhere. There used to be billboards in Vegas all about like pro-life or anti-choice or whatever it was. And some of them were really confusing. I'll have to see if I can find any of them. But it was like, you're going to hell. This episode is brought to you by the Do Not Disturb setting on your phone. You should use it. You don't need to be disturbed by beeps and boops all the time. There's a way to set it up so important people can get through to you with a call or a text or one or the other. You should try it. If you really want to get into it, you can set the notification settings for every app you have. You can tell it to stop bothering you with every little tiny thing that happens anywhere in the world. But that takes a lot of time. And a lot of those apps are designed to still notify you even when you say you didn't want that one, just in case you do want that one. And if you interact with that one, now they can send you more of those because you consented by opening. There are laws. They don't always work. And you deserve some time without notifications beeping and booping in your ear. So do not disturb. Try it out. And now back to the episode. It was some kind of religious something. Okay, I found it. This is the billboard. Apparently it was all over the place. It says, "Where are you going? Heaven or hell?" And then it has a phone number. So with any kind of advertising, there's a call to action. If it's good advertising, if it's actually copywriting, if it's actually persuasive, you are asking someone to do something. You are trying to persuade them to do something. And in this case, this billboard wants you to call this number. So how are they trying to convince you to do it? They're asking a question and they're putting you, the reader, in the center of the message. So that's good copywriting. They are making it attention grabbing, which feels like most things. Heaven or hell, kind of inflammatory, kind of scary, kind of a moral judgment, right? To get people to talk about it. These are all true things about the ad. They are all strategies you can use. Should we be using them? What is this for? Curiosity. It's a curiosity headline, a curiosity ad. When you call this, I'm pretty sure you're going to get sold some religion or some version of religion. The fact that it says 855 for truth, that is also manipulation, persuasion. Call this number to get the truth is the subtext of that. I thought this was an insane billboard. I think those tariff ones, they might be insane too, but there's a different motivation behind them. Persuasion is neither good nor bad. Manipulation feels like it's more on the bad side. Both of these ads want you to do something. One is to call a place and get information about something and join that thing. The Canadian billboards were to get people to understand tariffs might not be in their best interest. Do you feel the difference between those two things? I don't think it's just that I agree with one and disagree with the other. I think there's something you can feel about the intent behind an ad. So what's the intent behind the Sarah McLachlan ad? They want you to help support the animals. Okay. What's the intent behind Budweiser frogs? They want you to buy Budweiser. Wassup? Buy Budweiser, right? Verizon, can you hear me now? Buy Verizon service. You're in search. Use Google more. Google knows you. Google will help you. Google can tell your story. Those are the messages there. Mac first BC, buy the thing that fits your life. That feels a little more responsible, but still giant corporation and capitalism. And this billboard, these billboards are from a government entity, so they're not necessarily about sales. We talked in another episode about a Canadian moment. That is educational as well. The call to action is more like, hey, here's a cool thing Canada did. This is like, hey, here's a thing you might need to know. So the call to action is, think about this. That's a different kind of advertising, right? This one, call this number and get our information. Find out if you're going to heaven or hell. We, the human beings on the end of the line, will tell you about it. It would be hilarious if the person you got through to was AI. So can you tell if something is AI, and does it matter? Spoiler alert, it matters to me. I'm slowly understanding how I feel about it. So this is a stock image website called Pexels. These are all, in theory, images of real people taken by real people. Okay? Some pictures are bright, some are out of focus, some are this, some are that. At one point on one of these sites, there used to be a little robot icon that showed that the image was made by AI. And I thought that was wild, because if I'm on a stock image site where I can get images, I can either pay for them or get ones that are free for use, and you're allowing people to put AI images on there, it can be flooded in like 4 seconds with a billion images for every single thing. How can the people who are actually taking pictures, they can't keep up with that? I've noticed that that little robot icon is gone. So maybe because of some changes in the laws where AI images they can't have copyright, maybe they've changed what they're doing here. But this is just an idea of pictures supposedly and or advertised to have been taken by real people, of real people, right? Fine. So let's look at, this is a website. I'm going to say their name because I need to attribute it, but I'm not telling you to go there. It's stockimg.ai. These are all images created with AI. So we can look at the difference, right? Let's see, what would they call these? Maybe like we could put beach. Here are some pictures humans took of real beaches, right? And here is an AI image of a beach. Personally, if I saw this image, and I wasn't really thinking about it, like we usually aren't, we're not constantly assessing whether something's real or not, I might not notice that this is AI. And it might also be taking from a real picture someone took of a beach. It might have used a bunch of those components, therefore my eyes can't really tell that it's AI. This is one that's less obvious to me. This one, if I saw it on my feed, I would think it's AI because of the kind of, what do they call it? Like the AI sheen. There's like a shininess or a gloss to it. There's a specific style that AI tends to spit out first. That really sucks for anyone whose art style was this. If anyone already was producing these type of things and AI stole that and now it's become an AI signature, that's frustrating. That's very similar to, I wrote about it the other day. If you want to read about it, it's called How I Got Banned from Quora. And it has to do with AI co-opting M-dashes. I use M-dashes for real. I type them out. I use the alt code. I'm a person. AI is taking things people do and making it a signature AI thing. And now we don't want to use those things in case we get mistaken for AI. It's the snake eating its tail. But look at these other pictures. I might not clock this one as AI. This one is at least generated, right? I might not know it's AI, but I would know it's not a photo. I would know it was probably not drawn by someone. But then again, if someone showed this on their Instagram and said, I just made this, I wouldn't necessarily know. This one has the sheen, but I could also believe someone created it. You know what I mean? This one too. So I love the idea that I would be able to tell. I can always tell that it's AI. I want to feel that about myself, but it's not true. They can trick me. Like this isn't a person. This is AI. This, not a person, could be based on a person, right? They could have put their own picture, and I'm sure they did because there's a bunch of iterations. I'm sure they put their own face or someone had stolen their face. Why do people use this? Because let's say I'm looking for a very specific image. I want this dock, but I want it to have Christmas trees or something. It's very hard to find stock photos that satisfy those things. It is. And if you don't know anyone who takes photos, you don't know anyone who's an artist, and you just want this image, maybe you make it an AI. Like, I understand the market for this type of thing. You want a logo, you don't have the bandwidth or time or connections or resources to find someone to make you a logo, so you make it an AI. I get it. That's the surface level experience of AI. So again, like this has a bit of the sheen, but I could also be convinced it wasn't. We know that these examples here, they're all AI because they're on an AI site. They are stealing from real people's real faces. This one also has the sheen. This one, I wouldn't necessarily know. So that's just to give you a clue about that. Now, let's look at video. Video is even more insidious. This is a clip from Investigate TV. We'll just look at a few little sections so you can see in real time.
The story you're about to see contains AI. Some of it will be obvious, other parts not so much. For example, I really am in Los Angeles, but this Hollywood sign, it's AI. And the creators you're about to hear from will show you how they're able to do AI generations like this and so much more in hopes you can be better at detecting what's real.
I do want people to have this skill of detecting what's AI and what's not, but I don't think we can reliably. There's a phenomenon I've seen recently where, okay, in the Olympics, there was a bobsled race that happened, and during one of the commercial breaks, the bobsled flipped over and everyone was okay, but like it slid down the track or whatever. NBC owns the copyright for any Olympic thing. So people were trying to upload the clip that they somehow had onto YouTube, and it was getting flagged for copyright for NBC because it was an Olympic thing with the overlay of NBC, with the announcers of NBC. They own that. So it couldn't be uploaded. So somebody uploaded it flipped and running in reverse to get past all those copyright flags. Is that moral or ethical to do? Is that allowed? Right? We could talk about that forever, but they did do that. So they put in the description of the video, it's flipped and it is in reverse. Otherwise, I can't get through. I can't post it. It just gets taken down. The first 7 comments were, this is obviously AI because it's backwards and it's flipped. There are people out here thinking that they can spot AI everywhere. They're little AI detectives. Oh, that's AI. This is AI. That's AI. So they think everything is fake. When if you could read a little bit more, just read the description of the video, you will know that it was intentionally put flipped and backwards for a reason. So I caution you against saying oh, that's AI, that's AI, that's AI. Maybe. This brings me to a person trying to help you see that you don't know. They're trying to help you understand what you don't know. Their Instagram is I'm Mad Sal. And this creator was actually featured in that little clip I just showed you before. I wanted to show you their link. I'll put it in the show notes. And just a little example, okay? This is the person themselves, and this is their, AI video editing, Photoshop. So reality and what we see. Personally, I would not be able to tell. I think they had one. This is probably that the background is edited in, right? Okay, even better. That one has the AI glow to it, but they had one where, I'll just show it to you in this video. It was which is real, okay? And tell me if you can tell. So here, which person is real, okay? Green one, pink one. You can kind of try to tell based on lighting. You can try to tell based on hand position, when it moves. So let's see.
First is real.
Which one do you think it is? Really think about it. Okay.
This one's a potato. This one's couch.
Could you tell? I still couldn't tell. Even knowing the answer. Even knowing the answer right here.
This one's a potato.
I mean, I could in hindsight say, oh yeah, look, this and that and whatever. I could say that. Most of the time, you're not looking at something and thinking, is this real? Is this person lying to me? This one you can kind of tell the background is AI, but this one, would you be able to tell? How about this? How about when it zooms out? Are the chairs AI? Yeah, which one of these people is AI in the background? So, I just want you to know, you can't say for certain unless you're the one who made it. This leads me to another Olympic thing. I was watching the Olympics. I saw this ad. I'm going to play it for you. If you want to go see the creator who originally posted it and made it, their name is PJ Ace. This is their little thingamabob. So here's the ad that I saw during the Olympics. See what you think.
If history has taught us anything, it's not to root against the underdog. Right, Peter?
No spoilers.
The British are coming! It pays to know what's coming.
Check the group chat!
To chart your own course.
I'm sure that's nothing.
Because the 1 in a million long shot can work. When the whole world picks Goliath, you know it's going to be David. Every great leap began with a bold first step. And there's no shortage of second chances. Against impossible odds, you don't stand down. You swing first.
Okay, so what is this ad for? It's for Kalshi. What is that? You would have to go to Google and look it up to find out what it's about. When I saw the ads, or when I saw the percentages, the odds, in the bottom left corner, I immediately thought that was the point, right? There's something about this brand where the odds matter. And I had already been aware of Polymarket and other betting sites. So when I Googled Kalshi, that's what it is. It's a Polymarket-like place where you can wager on events. You can bet on how many times someone will say something in a speech. I go more in depth about this in the blog that I'm going to write, but let's look at the ad to start with. Could you tell it was AI? I didn't immediately know that. When I watched the ad for the first time, I had a weird feeling. I was like, something is off, and it bothered me for so long. So when I started looking into it, I was like, does it bother me that it's about a strange gambling site that feels so dystopian? That feels like there could be money laundering happening because anonymous accounts are making bets where if they made one, maybe, right? But they make 5 bets that all have to do with when Israel will bomb someone or take a military action, and they're right 5 out of 5. That makes me feel like people with information about upcoming events go to a website like Polymarket or maybe Kalshi or whatever. They go there and they make a bet that they know is going to happen, something with very low odds. And then they make money. And are there laws against this? I don't think that our laws have kept up with online gambling or futures or all of these things. Like all the wording, they're not calling it gambling necessarily. I don't know. Some people tend to cheat whatever system is out there. Some systems are set up for cheating. I don't know. I'm not in Kalshi. I'm not in Polymarket. I'm not ever going to interact with them in a way where I give them money. So the ad is going to be my window into their ethics, morals, how they operate, right? I thought most of this ad was kind of cool. I don't think it's sacrilege to be putting Jesus in this ad. I think it's a little bit edgy. It could be a little bit funny. Like, what are the odds he will rise again? 1%. Interesting, right? I laughed at the Paul Revere one or the British coming. Like, check the group chat. This is the only one where, in hindsight, I can kind of see the sheen on it, but I didn't see it at the time. These ideas are good ideas. It's good storytelling, and it's also like nostalgia and the in-group where we all know these stories. We know the story of Amelia Earhart. We know the story of Jesus. We know David and Goliath. Effective use of quick scenes where we feel like we know something. Oh, I know how that turns out. Oh, the odds are so low. And the voiceover is talking about you as the hero. You don't pick David. You pick Goliath. Man, at the time, you might not have picked Goliath. You don't know anything. You know absolutely nothing right now. The people who do know something, absolutely they're going to pick the right answer because they are in in Congress or the cabinet or whatever place you need to be to know about big mergers and trades and events that happen. So, this ad, I'm torn. Good storytelling. Makes me feel kind of like, ooh, I am the hero. You know, when others, what do they say? There's always a chance for redemption. America loves that story. There's always second chances. When others, what do they say here? You don't stand down, you swing first. That's a very, like, American, very action hero in a movie kind of thing to say. And then the tagline, it's your turn to defy the odds. How, like, that is the way to talk to people right now if you want them to start gambling. Should we be doing that? Gambling is a very difficult addiction. It has the highest rate of suicide of any addictions. If you want more information on that, I can link you to the blog when it's out. Rough. Sports betting, more prevalent than ever. Morally, ethically, up to you if you think gambling is wrong. I don't think it's good. I don't think I can control what you do. I control what I do. I don't think it's good. And then this message, you're the hero. It's your turn to defy the odds. You've been dealt a bad hand, but you can turn it around with one action. It's this idea that you can get rich quick that is so damaging, especially to people with unstable income, especially to people who are wondering how they can pay for their groceries. You're the hero, and it's such an attractive message. And is it responsible to use it here? Then, as I'm looking through, I read what PJ Ace has to say about this ad. And I read several articles. He made this ad in 1 week. And he used AI. Not just AI, okay? Because I thought, oh my God, how? He didn't just use AI. He worked with a head writer, ex-Comedy Central person, reportedly Nate Dern, on the script. He had a director, Theo Dudley, directed it. And they had other writers pitch alt lines. So the parts that I really like about this ad, I think were created by people. The storytelling aspect, choosing the myths or history or whatever, putting the idea of the odds, centering your listener as the hero, making it kind of like a rousing, hindsight is 2020, you're the visionary kind of message. I think people did that. And I think AI is how they executed it. And they made it without actors. They made it without sound people. They made it without sets. They made it without location. And all of that is fine if I accept the premise that faster is better, cheaper is better, using fewer people is better. And I don't accept that premise. I know that capitalism does. And every quarter we have to make the stakeholders more money. But I don't know if I would be proud that it took me a week to make an ad. I guess if I accepted that the challenge was speed. Oh, I'm the first one to ever make an ad in a week. But for me, only me, the speed and completing that challenge would come with so many other questions of whose faces were those AI videos based on? That was probably a real person or an amalgamation of real people that don't get compensated. I don't know, man, it's rough. Let me know what you think. I hope the parts that I thought were effective about this ad were human-made parts. And this company has huge revenue. Huge revenue. So I don't want to cheer for them getting to pay less for a commercial to make them more money. That makes me feel crazy. I would rather people get universal basic income. I would rather everyone gets food stamps. I would rather everyone has access to free education and healthcare than an online gambling platform have a cheaper commercial made. It just feels so out of balance. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to try to think of an upbeat end to this. If you want to see the finished unblog about this Kalshi ad, you can go to wordsaboutstuff.com/unblog or .net/unblog, both the same. I have a little pop-up thing that'll happen. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, I can notify you when new unblogs are out. You could do that, or I can just talk to you here. But I feel disillusioned. I feel strained. There's so many aspects to the AI debate. How much energy it uses, the buildings are being built where people live and disturbing that. Those are huge. The ethics behind using it at all is huge. Just from a marketing perspective, I don't think you could have made that ad without people. I don't think it would have been as good without people. I wish I could ask them how it went, because I doubt you can just put it in and go. And then I wonder if they're trying to sell whatever their prompt is. They could sell that. They could sell the platform that they used. It all starts to feel like a lot of capitalism. And usually that's not in the best interest of the people. So, ads that bother me. Now you know a little bit about how they're potentially made, brainstormed, executed. We can talk another time about what's ethical, but that's baby steps for now. So we wind down with a little bit of introspection. What's been working for me lately? I'm gonna say thinking about stuff. I do this all the time. When I see something on Facebook or wherever, yes, I'm on Facebook. When I see something anywhere and I think, oh, that's interesting, I might want to talk about that later. I read the whole thing. I read it. I look it up on Snopes. I have a high bar for I'm going to share this. And I think maybe everyone else could benefit from that too. I know there's like a dopamine of like, I saw this on my feed, share. That agrees with my worldview, share. That infuriates me, and yeah, they're really sticking it to this guy, share. What if it's fake, man? Like, treat yourself like a journalist. Anything you're sharing reflects on you. What if you're sharing a bunch of stuff that's fake or misinformation or just pandering to you and you're getting tricked? Because AI is going to trick you. They're very, very good at, it's like footage from a Ring camera. So your brain already decided, oh, it's not going to look perfect. So any kind of AI errors in that, you just absorb them. That's a huge one. So if you're seeing videos that have that sheen on them, it might be AI. If you're seeing very strange that you're like, oh, I don't know if that might be AI, be careful. Look into it. Because that billboard, the one, the Las Vegas Nights billboard, it seemed like that was real. It's probable that it's real. The visual looked kind of real. It was funny. But it's not real. And doesn't matter. Because sharing that not real one made me look it up, and I found out some really cool stuff. I say just be careful out there. Be careful in this digital landscape. You don't want to be the one spreading all of the fake stories someone told you. Like, I don't know, imagine back when we were in little villages, like, someone is spreading gossip that's not true and you're the one regurgitating it all the time. Don't do that. Take that a few extra seconds to look it up. And that's going to stop your dopamine chase, right? Your constant scroll and share. Take a second, go into a little rabbit hole, look it up. Or don't, but just have in the back of your mind, is this real? Who benefits? What are they trying to get me to feel? What are they trying to get me to do? Who's paying for this? And that includes the news. The news, right? So if someone wants to learn more about the ethics and mechanics of advertising, go to wordsaboutstuff.com. There'll be a little pop-up thing when you try to leave. It'll ask if you want to sign up for the newsletter. You could do that. I'll send to your inbox whenever I put a blog post, or I'll try to notify when I do these as well, if that helps you. I don't know. And now we're at the end. I end every episode with an exceptional outro that I haven't thought of yet. Good artists borrow and great artists steal. As Adriene from Yoga with Adriene always says, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Take good care. Namaste.